So yeah, this is me. After booting my PC for the first time, after building a PC for the first time. And as you can tell by my particular posture, it didn't go well. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying your boy didn't figure it out.
Nice.
I'm just saying it took some time. It took some diagnosing that I didn't even know that I could do. But yeah, this is kind of a first PC build video, kind of a messed up on my first PC build video. All in all, building a PC is definitely a challenge. It's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Even though it may have took me a few days to build this bad boy. But before you judge me, let me explain. Now, I started this build how anybody else would start their PC build off. But yeah, the first thing we did was pull out our motherboard. We set it on top of the box that it came out of after we got it out, which happened to be a refurbished box because the motherboard was refurbished. But I mean, I got it for a pretty decent price. It was around I think it was $114 for a Z690 ATX motherboard. So I wasn't mad at that, you know what I mean? So got that bad boy out. We went ahead and we set it on top of the box, like I said, that it came out of. And we went ahead and got it prepped to install our CPU. Now, installing the CPU was pretty easy. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. All you do is you just take your CPU, which for me was an i5 12600K, and you check the corners, and in the corners there's going to be an arrow. You check that arrow and you match it up with the arrow that's on your motherboard. And there's also slots on there as well that you can look at that'll help you too, which those slots will not let you mess up. So I like those. I like that. But after we got our CPU placed and we knew that it was correctly fitted in the CPU socket, we took our clamp that we undid earlier, which all we did was push it down, and you gotta give it a little bit of tension. Push it down, you give it some tension, and you just release it. You push it to the side and it comes right up. And then there's another part that is like attached to it, and you take that cover and you just pull that back. And so that's what we did. And so we put the CPU back, we put the cover back over the CPU, we put the tension rod down, pushed it in under the little holder part that's under there, and it snapped into place. It was good. Make sure the arrows were matched up, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Installing the CPU was one of the easier things that you can do. But yeah, after we got the CPU installed, we went ahead and we installed the RAMs, which was the Trident Z RGB 8GB dual RAM, which was pretty easy to install. I think the most important thing when you're installing the RAM is I would suggest looking at your manual. This is going to save you some time. This is going to save you some heartache later on. Look at your manual and see which slots you're supposed to install your RAM in. For me, it was slots 2 and 4. I forget which letter. I think it was A2 and B2. I think it was. Yeah, you just want to make sure you do that because sometimes you might turn on and you might get a black screen. Just saying. Save you some time and some heartache. But yeah, installing the RAM's pretty easy. All you do is push these 2 pins down that the RAM goes into. Make sure that you line up the little, it's like a little indent in the RAM. All you do is you line it up with the little indent that's on the motherboard, and you push it in and you give it a little push down. Now, what I did was I pushed down on one side, then I pushed down on one side, and then I got a good snap. or you can just push down in the middle, and sometimes it'll snap like that. But when I was trying to do it like that, it would not snap, and I felt like I was giving it too much pressure. You know what I mean? So I just pushed down on one side, and then I pushed down on the other side. Anyway, we're good to go. After we installed the RAM, we went ahead, we installed the NVMe, which was pretty easy as well. Took off the shield, which was cool that it came with one. I was not expecting that at all. And after we took off the shield, we placed the NVMe in the little, I guess, little insert that it goes into. There's little indent on the NVMe insert as well. It says you put it in at a 30-degree angle, and when you put it in at that 30-degree angle, it should be good. It should be like flopping up a little bit, man, which is fine. When you screw it down, it'll straighten out, everything like that. But you just want to make sure that it's secured inside of that socket that it's supposed to go into. And so once you do that, you take your screw, which for some reason mine didn't come with. It's one thing that I was upset with. It did not come with a NVMe M.2 screw.
Trouble. I'm missing a screw.
So I just put my shield directly over it, which, as you can see, it's not hurt nothing. I mean, everything's fine for now. We got the NVMe up there, and we got the CPU up there, and we got the RAM up there, and I was hyped because then it was time to install the AIO cooler, which was one of the funner things to do. And then there's certain brackets that come with your AI cooler. For me, I read the instructions, and I would definitely advise for you reading the instructions as well, because it was easy once I read the instructions, but if I didn't, I don't think I would have figured it out. So all you gotta do is you take a little bracket, it goes right there on the back. For me, there was two different kinds. There was one for Intel, and there was one for AMD. Once you get that back plate on there, it's pretty easy from there. So for that, all you do is you take your thermal paste. You're supposed to put it in a certain pattern. The pattern I tried to do was like a X with like dots on the side. As you can see, it didn't turn out that way, but I mean, all you got to do is you take your AIO cooler and you just tighten it down. I mean, that's pretty much it. And after we got the AIO cooler in there, we were good. That's pretty much the difficult part about the installation of the PC, to me at least. And that's when I started getting hyped, because I knew we were getting closer, or at least I thought I was. But yeah, after that, we put out our case, which was the Zalman S3TG ATX case, which is, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty nice case. It's got tempered glass, which was real glass on there. I was kind of surprised by it. I thought it was gonna be like some fake glass or something like that. Like, I don't know why, it's just what I thought, you know what I mean? I was pleasantly surprised when it wasn't. Yeah, we went ahead and we attached the motherboard to our case, which there was like 6 little pins on there or whatever. So you just match up what kind of motherboard you have. Depending on the kind, there's micro, ATX, and I would just see which one you have and see which way it's supposed to be installed inside of your case. Make sure you're using the right screws. That's important too. But yeah, you get your screws, you go ahead and tighten it down, and boom, you got your motherboard in there. Now, getting the motherboard in there was another easy part to me. I mean, to me, getting all the parts, physically, like installing them in here, that was one of the easier things for me. Like, I could do that all day. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mind that at all.
All the way. You probably shouldn't handle it like this. I'm just guessing.
But yeah, it was time to install the fans, which was one of the hard things that shouldn't have been a hard thing. I'll just be honest. It was really just installing the fans, like getting them all connected, like together, I guess. Because when I first turned it on, they were not right. They were not right.
Something's not right. I can feel it.
But that was okay because I figured out what the problem was. But yeah, after we got the AIO cooler in there, we went ahead and we installed all the fans, which was a simple thing to do. You just see where they go. You check the direction of your fan For me, it said that where the frame inside was exhaust, and the frame on the inside where I couldn't see it at was the intake. You know what I mean? It would be like taking air in. So I have this taking in air, these taking in air, these fans pushing out air, and this fan right here pushing out air as well with the AO cooler on there. So I mean, she cools pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, she cools pretty well. And we got the power supply in, which was easy enough. All you do for the power supply is you just take 4 screws. You see which way it's supposed to be slotted in there, and you screw your power supply in. And that's one thing with the fans too. I would suggest screwing them down like X, like in the X way. Like you go from one to the other, to the other, to the other. You know what I mean? Don't just go boom, 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 boom. Like try to interchange them so it's all tightened down like the same way. You know what I mean? Installing the power supply was easy. We went ahead and we got that bad boy in there, screwed it down or whatever. All the wires that came with it was crazy. I didn't know what I was gonna do about all them damn wires. But you know, I mean, we figured that out pretty easy. After we got the power supply in, it was time to put the graphics card in. Which, I mean, putting the graphics card in is pretty easy to do as well. Little PCI slot. I suggest putting it on that first slot. They say that that's the one that's supposed to be the most optimized for performance or something like that. So yeah, we went ahead and grabbed that bad boy, and we just pushed the little pin back that was on the right side, and we, boom, pushed it in until we heard like a good click, and boom, graphics card installed. We was hyped. We were ready. After that, you're supposed to be ready, and you're supposed to just get your power supply ready and start plugging shit up to get it primed to see if it turns on. Right? And we powered up, and as you can imagine, we did not get the outcome that we were hoping for. Straight black screen with a red light on the VGA, which turns out to be the GPU. So I went through a time with this, which a lot of this I didn't even record because I was just so stressed out that I had built this whole computer and I turned it on and it didn't work. All that was going through my head was there could be so many things wrong, which was probably not the best thing to be thinking at that time. You gotta understand like the stress like in those moments. I tried so many things with this GPU. That thing is gonna stay back there. It turns out that the graphics card was just bad. Tried resetting the CMOS. I tried updating the BIOS. Nothing worked. So luckily I was able to find this GPU on Facebook. I was able to get it for $100, which was a deal for me. It's a Radeon XFX. I think it was RX 580. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty good graphics card. It runs pretty much how the 1660 Super would have. So, you know, I was pretty happy that I was able to find something at least with the same performance. You know what I mean? Or near the same performance. I went through a time with that. It was days, many a nights of me up, just trying to figure out why isn't this graphics card working?
Why isn't this working?
Like, is it me? Did I put something else in here wrong? I mean, that's something that I would suggest for all the new builders, for anybody that's going to build a PC and it's your first time, get new parts. Do not get used parts from eBay. To get used parts from eBay, you have to be able to diagnose if something's wrong with them. And it being our first time, we're probably not gonna be able to. You know what I mean? I did learn. I can't say that. I did learn a lot, you know. I feel like I could probably like figure out a problem if a GPU was working and it was anything other than it being dead, I could probably figure it out. I'm not gonna lie. Ended up having to get a new NVMe as well, because for some reason the SSD that I got, the Team Group one, when I tried to install Windows after I was able to finally get into, you know, BIOS, and the only way I was able to do that was literally by taking out the CMOS battery. All I know is that it did take some time, it did take some effort. It was a lot of headache, a lot of heartache, a lot of sleepless nights, like I said before, but I did figure it out after a while. I think it would be hard to do if you get used parts. I should just got new stuff. I was trying to be cheap. Yep, I was trying to be cheap. Christmas is coming up. Yeah, if you're gonna build your own PC, just stay at it. If something goes wrong, just troubleshoot it. Start with that one thing. Luckily, there's a lot of forums, a lot of groups on there. My first PC build was a disaster. That motherfucker is still going back to eBay. Matter of fact, tomorrow in the morning. You're getting shit back, buddy. I hope you're ready for that. Hope you guys enjoyed this process. You enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. There's gonna be a lot more videos like this one. My next build is gonna be a white PC build, and I'm also doing a little series where I'm flipping these as well. So yeah, PC says bye, so I'll say bye. So I'll see y'all later. Peace.